Motivation, the desire or willingness to do something. Motivation can be categorized in two ways. There's either extrinsic motivation, motivation stemming from outside factors, therefore doing a task to avoid negative consequences or receive an award, or intrinsic motivation, which is motivation stemming from enjoyment in the task itself. This is a great kind of motivation. As teachers, we want to create the conditions for intrinsic motivation to grow so that our children will enjoy learning. But how do we do this? We're going to start by creating a safe learning environment. And why do we want to create a safe learning environment? Because students learn more in classrooms that are emotionally safe and secure. We're going to create this safe learning environment with pastoral care. Pastoral care means looking out for the welfare of each student as individuals. Show that you genuinely care for your students. Greet each child by name with a smile every morning. Recognise that each child is unique. Get to know your students, their likes and dislikes. Make a bully-free zone in your classroom. Encourage your students to embrace differences and require that they treat each other with courtesy and respect at all times. Be approachable. Make sure that your students feel they can approach you about anything. But most importantly of all, be genuine in your care, because if you're not genuine, your students will be able to tell. So now we've created a safe learning environment and our students are happy to be in our classrooms. They're ready to learn. So let's look at how to use intrinsic motivation for effective teaching practice. So here's some strategies to encourage intrinsic motivation. First of all, we need to explain. We need to explain what we're teaching, why it's being taught, and how your students will be using this information. We need to relate what's being taught to our students' lives, because if they can relate to what's being taught, they're more likely to pay attention and have that intrinsic motivation. Involve your students in the learning. Make your lesson plans interactive and hands-on wherever possible. When students are involved, their interest and attention, therefore intrinsic motivation, increases and more learning results. Make lessons that appeal to all the senses: touch, taste, smell, sight and sound. Through Gardner's theory of multiple intelligence, we know that everyone learns differently, so if we can make lessons that appeal to all the senses, hopefully we'll capture different learning styles. Add a visual element, because this way your children or students can form mental pictures of an idea, which will help them to create meaningful memories. Provide appropriate challenge. This is really important, because if your tasks are too hard, students will become disinterested and give up. If they're too easy, students will get bored. So you've got to make tasks just hard enough that your students get a sense of satisfaction and will be intrinsically motivated to do whatever task you've got lined up next. So we can enhance these strategies with classroom resources. So select resources that complement your lessons. Mobile learning devices are great for personalised learning, whereas cameras and video recorders can be great for enhancing student projects. Charts, maps, diagrams are all great for adding a visual element, but really you can use whatever you want. It's only limited by your imagination. So in summary, intrinsic motivation starts with a safe learning environment. Effective teaching practice means explaining, involving your students in the lessons, appeal to all the senses, add a visual element, challenge your students, and use complementary classroom resources. But most of all, be engaging. Be enthusiastic in your teaching, be passionate, and don't forget to enjoy yourself. Because if you're enjoying yourself, it's more likely that your students will feel your passion and they'll enjoy themselves too. Thank you for listening to my presentation.
Created using Powtoon.